Alex Jensen live from McEwen Pavilion after the Gales improved to 8-1 after a 92-36 win over Southern Utah in this edition of Gales Chalk Talk. All right, like we talked about last week, the Gales went through their first road test of the season in what ended up being a 63-59 loss at the hands of Cal, a very talented team in the Pac-12, and a team that if you saw in person, and really an outstanding atmosphere at that game, which we'll get to in a second, but if you saw Cal in person, a very athletic, talented team. Cal is a team that figures to contend in the Pac-12, and the Gales really hung with them every step of the way. But quite a run at the beginning of that second half, put the Gales up by 5 at 49-44, and at one point, the St. Mary's fans in Haas Pavilion overshadowing Cal fans with a chant of "Let's go Gales." Just an all-around great atmosphere for Bay Area basketball. The two dueling fan bases, the two dueling programs that hadn't met since 2004. The Gales then return home on Monday to take on Cal Poly, part of a 3-game and 5-day stretch, and the Gales, we knew we would learn something about the Gales coming off, about the St. Mary's team coming off of their first loss of the season, returning to their home court to take on a Cal Poly team who, in all honesty, can be tough to separate from. But the Gales were able to do that by hitting a school record 19 threes in that game, 5 coming off of fingertips of Calvin Hermanson, who had a career-high 23 in that ball game, and started the game by scoring 9 of St. Mary's first 11 points, as St. Mary's shot for the game 60%. And again, the highlight in that game, the 19 threes, a school record for one game. Lost in that, though, was the 28 assists on 35 field goals, as the Gales after this game would move into the top 5 in assists per game at 20.4. Brings us to tonight's game, in which the Gales gave up a season-low 36 points to Southern Utah. 92-36 was the final, as the Gales improved to 8-1 this season. And St. Mary's defensively was very impressive in this game. Southern Utah, a team that comes in scoring almost 77 points per game. The Gales had held the Thunderbirds to a season-low 36, and just 6 of 29 in the second half for the Thunderbirds. Dane Pinot, a career high with 20 points on 10 of 12 shooting. As we just mentioned it, his play continues to improve and stay at a high level as this season wears on. 20 points, 6 rebounds, and a career-high 6 assists for Pinot against Southern Utah. Emmett Nard chips in with 16 points on 6 of 7 shooting, 4 of 5 from outside the arc. Again, the Gales had been scoring 80.5 points per game coming into this one. They were second in the NCAA in field goal percentage at 53.6 coming into this contest, and also coming into this contest third in the country in three-point percentage. All those numbers will go up after tonight, so the Gales will stay in the top handful of teams in many offensive categories, including those. A bright spot, maybe from an unexpected source, was Franklin Porter's 15 points on 5 of 6 shooting. He was 3 of 3 from outside the arc in a career high for Franklin, and in points, in minutes played, and also in rebounds with 5.
Guard play will be very important to our success, passing the ball, getting open shots, good shots, and then getting the ball into the bigs so they can pass it out and find other open guys for threes and other things. So it'll be very important for us. Yeah, it's a big win for us going into conference play. Coach talks about the season in laps. We finished that first lap, and now we're going into conference. It's time to pick it up so we can play well.
Now the Gales turn their attention to conference play as their rivals from across the Bay in the University of San Francisco and Rex Walters' team will make the trip across the Bay Bridge to this floor on Monday night as St. Mary's takes on the Dons at 8 o'clock. So how well will St. Mary's offense continue to operate in conference play? Remember, the scouts get out quickly. These teams know what each other are going to do, so really being forced to your second, third option in conference play. But the Gales have depth on their side. 8 Gales averaging 7.5 or more points per game. Every night it's somebody different, it seems. And every night the Gales are able to get it done on the offensive end. Again, we'll see teams that know them. How will the Gales fare against their Bay Area Conference rivals? That will be the question. Again, don't forget, Santa Clara beat St. Mary's in the final game of the regular season last year at the Levy Center. So don't want to get too far ahead of yourself looking past USF, but the Gales will certainly be looking for some measure of revenge in that game on Wednesday.